Hello and welcome to this podcast edition of Sam's Alternatives with me, Sam, episode 46. I'll be chatting to Aussie artist David Jones very shortly. Lots of stuff has happened in the last week or so since last episode. I'll go through some of the new releases that have been released, including David Jones with Luxuria, also Vex, Calling in Silence, Shove It, Vanta, Plague of the Fallen, Gold Throne, Dial Denial, Dead Heat, Desolate Symphony, Champ Ruby, among other bands and artists to have dropped new music. Quite a few dropping in the next few days as well. Shady Maze, Outloved and Seek Misery, to name a few. Interviews coming up. Tuesday the 18th of November is Neo Stereo. Sunday the 23rd of November is Civilians. Then Sunday the 7th of December, Cascade Effect. Saturday the 13th of December, Terry Truern. Sunday the 21st of December is Suspended Animation. Sunday the 28th of December is Flowers for Jane. Then Tuesday the 13th of January 2026, if you can believe, will be with Seek Misery. And Sunday the 18th of January, Virtues. So heaps of stuff happening, plenty of interviews just about to be announced as well. It's only 5 and a bit weeks till the top 2,500 best Aussie/New Zealand songs of the 2020 so far. Countdown starts Saturday the 13th of December. 2,500 to 2,401 will be announced on the YouTube podcast episode with Terry Truern. What has made the countdown? It's going to be very interesting to see over those 2 weeks, from Saturday the 13th of December to Sunday the 28th of December, which will be the countdown. What's made it? What's number one? Who has these 27 entries? I think that's the thing everyone's intrigued to know. Which band or artist has had 27 entries in the countdown? Is it Red Hawk? Is it Clay J. Gladstone? Is it OJ? Is it, Drastic Park? Is it any of these bands? Well, I guess only time will tell. But this top 5, I can tell you right here, right now, it's the closest top 5 ever. There is nothing between number 1 and number 5. This could really go down to the wire. I'm telling you right here, right now, it is that close percentage-wise. There's only 2% difference between number 1 and number 3. And this was not an easy decision to make, picking number 1, because there's been so many good songs released in 2025 and all of the 2020s so far. Also, just before we start the interview, I just reached 1,000 total watch time hours of my YouTube channel. So thank you to every single person that has liked, shared, subscribed, commented on, jumped on for a chat. Really means a lot to me. All right, David is in the lobby. I'll let David in and we'll start the interview, as they say. Hello.
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 How are you? Sorry, I'm just getting this happening. How are you, Sam?
No, you're right. I'm a bit early, as you can tell, but always good to be early than late. There we go, David. Can see you perfectly.
Awesome. How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Yourself?
Oh, I'm living the dream.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You were there for a second, and then you've disappeared again. I don't know.
Have you got me now?
No, I can hear you. I just can't see you for some reason.
Hang on one sec. Can you see anything? Is that better?
I can see you now. I don't know what happened there.
I can see myself. Amazing.
Oh, this again. Amazing. It happens every time an interview happens, Dave. It's like someone says they can see me, but I can't see them. Or I can see them, but can't see... Yeah, so I don't know.
It's technology, eh?
Yep. And how many episodes? 46 episodes, and Sam still hasn't figured out how to master WebEx yet. That's pretty bad.
Doesn't matter. That's awesome. 46 episodes in.
Yes.
Well done.
You're episode 46, Dave. And I'm a massive fan. And for those that don't know, Dave just dropped Luxuria only literally 5 days ago. Or not even that, actually.
Yeah, it was on Friday. Yeah. So that's been good. I was the release for that one got delayed a little bit, but we got there, so it's out now on wherever you stream your music online. So I'm really wrapped with that. Yeah, it's good.
No, I love it. I've loved all three songs, New City, New Love, and between um My Shadow and The Sun. I've
Yeah,
got that right? Yep.
yeah,
Um
yeah.
Huge fan of all three songs. Feel like Luxuria is actually my favourite of the three, but
Awesome, awesome.
it might change from day to day. It generally happens with music.
Yeah, I fully understand that. Yeah, everything. Our songs often share a floating crown with a few others. Some people ask me sometimes, "Oh, what's your favorite song on this album or that?" And it's like, well, I love that one, but then I love that one and this one and the other. They all, they at any different point, any different one can be my favorite sort of thing. So, and that's, I guess, it's kind of true of my music too. But yeah, I just try and do what I do, I suppose. Yeah, yeah.
But also, if everyone liked the same song from the same band or artist, it would sort of, not in a bad way, but it'd seem a bit boring because one person would say the same answer as the two people before them. And you're just like, well, I heard that only 5 minutes ago. If someone's got a
Yeah.
different favourite song, it sort of gets the talking going, like as if, okay, this person has been touched more by this song, for example, than another song that someone else might have been touched by.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. Not only that, it doesn't really allow for a career for anyone else if everyone likes the one band and the one song, you know? There's like everyone goes to the one concert and no one goes to anything else. So, yeah,
No,
yeah,
totally agree. And
yeah.
there's been a bit of talk, and this is a perfect lead in actually, because one of the biggest metal bands in the world has just toured Australia and it's still touring Australia, and that's Metallica. And there's a lot of people saying it's not the same Metallica gig as it was, 20 years ago. And it's just
Mhm.
like, well, they've got new fans. Like, they want to appease to everyone.
Yeah, 100%. They've got new fans and they've been, it's not like as if their career stopped 20 years ago or anything like that. They've continually written songs and they, like all of us, they are growing as people as well, and so you've got to allow them that growth and everything. They're probably not the people, let's say, or the performers that they were back then, but you know what, I went and it was fantastic. I went to Adelaide last Wednesday night, and I also went to Melbourne. I'm based in Melbourne. I went to Melbourne on Saturday night, just gone, and it was fantastic both nights. Slightly different set list on each, and yeah, I loved it. But I'm an old school Metallica fan too, so yeah, they've been with me for a long time.
Yeah, well, and I was actually in Melbourne on Saturday night for the Marvel gig. The weather was terrible, but
Oh,
outside of
shock.
that,
Mm.
like
You were there?
just I heard a lot of people because I went to another gig that night because mates were
Ah,
down from New South Wales, and it was like people on the train were saying, I was so glad I was at that Metallica concert
yeah,
on
yeah,
Saturday night, and that's awesome to hear. But I heard a lot about suicidal tendencies, and Evanescence did really well as well. And I'm a massive
yeah,
fan of both of those as well.
yep, yep. Yeah, both. It was like when I saw Suicidal, it was like going back to the early '90s. My mates and I used to, like, you would take Rage on their heavy metal nights and stuff like that, and I remember, they opened with the song uh, "You Can't Bring Me Down." It's called, and I remember the video clip on Rage and all that sort of stuff. And they played it like I reckon it was a 15-minute version of it,
Oh,
super long, and
wow.
had lots of fun and everything. And they were really a lot of fun, I thought. Um, and then Evanescence were uh, they put on a flawless performance. Like it was like a clinic musically. They were very, 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 very good. Like really, really incredibly good live band, and that was true at both gigs because I saw all three bands at Adelaide and Melbourne.
Yep.
Um, yeah, and both times Suicidal were a lot of fun, just having a ball. They were a little bit like it's sort of slightly rough and ready, but in the good way, if that makes sense. Just you know, they were more about entertaining the crowd than getting it everything exactly note perfect. They were performing and just having a good time and all that. Whereas Evanescence were they did all that, but they were really slick, really polished with their performance. Not a wrong note, nothing. And it was yeah, it was perfect. So, and then Metallica, obviously, you know, who everyone went to see. You know, I've been a fan of theirs since before the Black Album come out, so a long time. Yeah. So, um, yeah, they've been with me for a long time.
It's interesting about suicidal tendencies because a lot of people, and I was a massive fan of suicidal tendencies. The song that got me into them, which probably is no surprise to a lot of people, was institutionalized, which
Right.
I remember that song, like on Rage, what Dave was saying about, the hardcore or the metal show new
Hmm.
releases. And I just remember hearing institutionalized. I'm like, wow, this band sounds totally different to what I expected them to sound
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And then they just blew me away. I was annoyed that I missed going to Froth and Fury a year or so ago when they played with I think it was it Fear Factory or was that the year after? It
I
was,
couldn't tell you. I'm not sure. Yeah.
yeah, I've gone
Not sure.
blank, but they played. I think might have even been with the Butterfly Effect and Sunk Lotto, and I was like,
Right.
oh,
Yeah.
like is
We
that?
usually we usually go to see the Butterfly Effect when they come down to Melbourne. Yeah. So we try and make that a thing. Yeah.
A lot of great memories with the Butterfly Effect. I think begins here and uh, yeah, probably begins here more than any other album. I think just was on repeat.
Yeah. Right.
1 second of insanity, always the cell. They were just going through the motions. They were getting played literally weekly, maybe even daily in some cases.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. For me, it was probably the next album, Imago, or yeah, that like I yeah, when that came out, I was just like, this is the business. Like it, I found there was a whole generation of bands at that time that had that real melodic metal thing going on. It was sort of, I felt like a lot of it was inspired by bands like A Perfect Circle, and stuff like that. And yeah, it really did it for me. It was fantastic. Yeah, yeah.
No, that's an amazing follow-up album too. I love Slow Descent and Reach and
Oh, so
even
good.
Gone. Like I know it's more of a ballad Gone, but I feel
Mm,
like it's still a Butterfly Effect to the T.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Just just a good time. I think that early 2000s. What else did we have? We had like
Carnival,
Carnival. Yep,
yeah.
Carnival. Um, um,
Cog, Dead Letter Circa. Oh, Dead Letter
yes,
were a bit later, but
yeah, they were
Cog,
probably the next generation again. Yeah.
yeah.
I remember seeing Cog at the 2003 Big Day Out. That's yeah, because they were on my radar maybe just a little bit before the Butterfly Effect and Carnival and all that. You know what? I was watching. Do you ever watch um, Rick Beato's YouTube? Have you heard of him?
I've heard the name. I don't think I've ever watched anything
Well,
though.
Rick Beato is he's an American guy. He does like a YouTube channel, and it's basically he talks to musos, and he's a music producer himself, and he does interviews with different people. Anyway, I was watching an interview yesterday with him and Wolfgang Van Halen, which is Eddie Van Halen's son.
Oh, yep.
Anyway, yeah, and Eddie Wolf was talking about bands that influenced him and that he loves, and Carnival came up. He mentioned he loves them. Yeah.
Oh,
So
well, that's awesome, especially
yeah,
when it's an international band. Well, and especially, I mean, Eddie Van Halen's son's band. I mean, Van
yeah,
Halen were massive for
yeah,
30
exactly.
years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, son of EVH is one of his favorite bands is Carnival. There you go.
It
Amazing. Oh,
does. It's good to see though, like, because a lot of influencers now from international bands are Australian bands. Like, they seem to love the Aussie scene here.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's probably been true for a long, long time though. Like, if you were ever if you were you a fan of Guns N' Roses back in the day by any
Oh,
chance?
huge
Yeah.
fan, David.
Right. So they're massive fans of Rose Tattoo. That's where they got the yeah. So yeah. In fact, they covered Nice Boys on one of their EPs or something. Come out as that GNR Lies
Was
album.
that with Patience and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. So it was on that. I believe that half of it was an acoustic thing and the other half was a live thing, the Lies thing, and it was like made from a demo that they'd recorded a couple of years earlier, or a live gig or whatever it was. And Nice Boys Don't Play Rock and Roll, which is a cover of Rose Tattoo. And then hence why Rose Tattoo supported them when they came out. Did you? I don't know if you went. You're probably not old enough. The show in the '90s, they came out. Guns N' Roses in '93, I want to say, and played at Calder Park.
I would have been
Yeah,
alive, but unfortunately not that old. I would have
yeah,
been
yeah,
about 7 or 8, but
yeah. That was my first ever live concert that I went to. My first ever international touring band live concert. Yeah.
it's,
So
it's not a bad first international band to
yeah,
see.
yeah. Came down on a bus from my hometown and went to the concert. They ran like a tour from up there, like through the travel agents. They had 4 buses, whole bunch of teenagers come down for Guns N' Roses. Yeah, yeah. And then a couple of months later, Metallica did it again. Yeah,
And of
yep,
course, 15 years after that, the last Guns N' Roses tour of '93, they went in hiatus pretty much after that, and then Chinese Democracy came out in
yeah.
2008.
That's right. Yeah, that actually wasn't a bad album. I thought. I thought it was okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
I didn't think it was that bad. I think
Mhm.
it got copped a lot of criticism, obviously,
Yeah,
because it was, 15 years. But sometimes albums with a big break between actually do work. I say
yeah.
some do not.
Yeah,
But
some do not, but some do. But you know what? Here's the thing, right? When a band comes out, um, say when they come out with their very first album, they've had their entire lives up to that point to come up with that material, right? And then the second one, they've only got a couple of years or something, or a year or two to come up with the follow up, and so forth and so on. Does that make sense? So
yeah, it
with
does.
Yeah, so with that big gap that they had between, it's probably allowed them to have like a band does for the first time in a way. Although it's very very different from previous Guns N' Roses. Although I must admit that the Use Your Illusion albums are very different to Appetite for Destruction as well. So yeah, in fact, I preferred them, to be honest. So that's just me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, anything with November Rain, Estranged, and You Could Be Mine on either of those Use Your Illusions, those
Yeah.
3 songs alone.
Yeah. Yeah. I reckon, You Could Be Mine is an absolute ripper of a song. Jeez, how good is that? Like, just it's a high energy song. I don't listen to it that often, but when I do, I just turn the volume up. Let's go. It's fantastic. Yeah.
And it's got that little bit of a rap verse at the about 3.5 minute mark where Axel does a bit of rapping, which I'm like, that's a little bit different from Guns N' Roses. It's
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
like half a minute or so, but I'm like, hard rock
Yeah.
metal with rap in it, but it has worked. I mean,
Is that the bit?
Anthrax, that part, yeah.
Stand. Tell me how long has it been? If I can live for it. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
movie too. One of the
Oh,
best sequels ever. It came
yeah.
off the movie
Better than
soundtrack,
better
Terminator
than
2.
yes. Yep. Better than the original, I thought.
Mm.
Yeah. Great movie. Yep.
Some might even argue the greatest sequel of all time, but there have been some good ones.
Yeah. They're the Godfathers.
Mm.
Um, and so on. Yeah, yeah. There's been some good ones. What's your favourite movie of all time?
Oh, I love that question, and
Yeah.
that's very hard to answer, David, actually.
Yep.
I've got a soft spot for anything Tarantino, so I've got to feel like it's got to be either Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, one of his really early
Early
works.
ones. Yeah. Great movies, both of them. Yeah. Love those. I got a little more straightforward. My all-time favourite's got to be Ghostbusters.
Nothing wrong
I
with
love it.
that. Dan
Yeah.
Aykroyd, Bill Murray, I
So
mean.
good. Yeah. It's the best.
And
Um,
who? Ray
yeah.
Parker Jr. Whenever I think
Yeah.
of Ghostbusters, it's Ray Parker Jr. doing the theme song to the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam won't give up his day job.
Yeah. uh,
Oh,
um, yeah. No, I was in the States early last or sort of April last year, and we went and visited the firehouse where they in New York there. I nearly cried like a little schoolgirl. I was so excited. It was awesome. Yeah.
well, I mean, if it's your favourite film of all time and it's your childhood, then
Mm.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
with being
Yeah.
emotional or
Yeah.
crying. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it obviously has had a big influence. And if it's your favourite movie of all time, David, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
that's exactly it. Yeah, 100%. I loved it. So yeah, it was good.
oh, I did
Yeah.
say this was going to be an interview about your music, but I felt like we're just going down nostalgia lane in the
Just having a
first
chat.
15 minutes.
Well, it's all fun and games.
Oh, I don't mind it. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it's generally just a chat, and we
Yeah.
do get to music stuff, of course. But
Yeah.
thank you to Glenn Fogwell from Shotgun Mistress and the Australian radio promotion who set this up. Glenn
Yep.
has set up so many interviews over the years, and
Yep.
we're only 20 minutes in, and I feel like it's another one ticked, and it's like, yep, just everything goes to plan. He's a professional, does so well at what he does. Like, I
Yeah, he's a
mean,
good man. He's a good
ta-
man
yeah,
and a great singer. Yeah,
yeah.
he's a killer. Have you seen
And
his band, Shotgun Mistress?
I have seen Shotgun Mistress a
Yeah,
couple
yeah.
of times. I saw them play with Midnight Devils. The US
Right.
band came over a year or so ago, and had seen Shotgun Mistress before that, but I don't think me and Glenn had actually
Yeah.
caught up in person.
Yep.
But no, they are excellent on it live.
Oh,
Shotgun
great live
Mistress.
band. Yeah, yeah. Very, very, very good. And as you know, good people as well. So which is awesome. Um, Matt, the guitar player, is just killer player. Great. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Ridiculous.
yeah, I have a lot of
Love it.
time for Ben and Dave as well
Yeah.
as Matt and obviously Glenn. The whole band
Yeah.
are a great bunch of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Killer.
yeah, like every time Glenn sends through an interview, I'm like, I'm not even gonna think about it. I'll find a date, I'll send it back, and this has actually been lined up for quite a while. And
I
then,
know. Yeah, it has. I was like, oh, it's like 3 months away or something, or 2 months or whatever it was. Yeah. Yeah.
and then I look at my diary, I'm like, oh shit, it's tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes up. Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
think I'd released probably New City, New Love when this was originally organised. So, yeah, or even I might have been Between My Shadow and the Sun. I'm not sure. It was one of those. Yeah. So,
yeah,
yeah,
because Glenn sends through a thing about like artists and bands, and then it says consideration, and I feel like it might have been New City, New Love, but
yep,
look, I might need to look back at the email because I do get
yeah,
things wrong from time to
yeah.
time.
Yeah. We all do that. We all do that. It's all good.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter. We can talk about anything we want, so it's fine.
pretty much. And
Yeah.
I don't mind banter and rambling. I ramble on way too much for
Mm.
anyone that's watched any of
No,
these
so do I.
interviews.
It's fine. It's all good. So do
So,
I.
so pretty much, David, it's just to get to know a bit about your musical journey, some things you like about being a musician, feedback you've received, and then
Yeah.
at the end, the tables get turned. So I'm now the question answerer at the end of the interview. If David has anything he wants to ask me, he'll
Yeah.
get the floor.
Oh, that'll be scary.
I'll
I'm
give
not
you a
good
bit
at.
of time to think. I
Yeah.
don't want to put you on the spot
I'm
right
not
here,
great at
right
it,
now.
is. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I guess I guess you make a start. I guess. And what do you want to know?
Well,
Yeah.
probably the most obvious one is what made you first want to become a musician and get into music?
Mm, well, um, so my parents are um, they're not musicians, but they were always fans of music. So they had the records and the record player and all of that stuff. Um, things like Elvis, the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, and all the early Beatles, and all that sort of thing, Roy Orbison and whatnot, and a few other different sort of slightly more obscure stuff, I'll say. But it was all, when I say obscure, I mean it's probably names that people have sort of half forgotten or something like that, but they're still, were big back in the day, sort of thing. And also had an older brother who was right into, you know, who was getting into listening to music and stuff like that as well. So he was always rating the record collection and all that sort of thing. And being the little brother, you tag along, So my brother ended up with his own little turntable, and we always would be in his room and playing music on there. Um, and then I don't know, somewhere along the way, Kiss came along, which he loved. I never really got into him that much, but he loved it. But anyway, driven by that, we started a band. None of us played anything, but and we were a band, was him and me and one of our neighbours. And really, it was just air guitars and dressing up. Um, and then a couple of years later, maybe he started getting his own tapes and stuff like that, and I started liking the songs that he was always playing. Um, and then my parents got an organ, one of those Lowry organs, a lot like Gotye used in, what was his song?
Not
The name.
Heart's a Mess. No.
No, no, but it was probably around that time, quite probably, and I'd say by the instrumentation of that song, um, State of the Art, I think it was called, maybe. Yeah, it was possibly the same album. I couldn't tell you. Um, but yeah, that was the same sort of organ as what he had on that, and I used to mess around with that, doing all sorts of weird and wonderful music. It was yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so from that, I was always fiddling around, and I wanted to, and then that became the mid '80s and late '80s, and synthesizers came along, um, and then there was Ice House, which was the first album I ever got. Man of Colors came out, and I was just really starting to love music and listen all the time, and obviously playing the. I think it started from there. I started air drumming, and then I realised that I didn't have the coordination. I don't think, or I felt like I didn't. Then it was air synths, and then um, the Final Countdown by Europe came out, and it has
Ah,
the guitar
yes.
solo, and that guitar solo just went for me. I was just like, this is the best thing in the world. Um, and around about that time, my dad then said to me, "Do you want to take guitar lessons?" And I was nearly 11 years old, and I said yes. And from there on, here I am with this wall of Marshalls behind me. So
I
yeah,
love that background. It's
mm, yeah,
yes.
it's pretty cool. There's a couple of uh, the ones on the end are 1981 JMPs, and yeah, that one there is a 78. Yeah,
Wow.
mm,
Uh, so
yeah,
it
awesome.
sums up yourself, David, I think. I mean, talking about the guitar solo in the Final Countdown, and you
Yeah.
got a bunch of Marshall amps in your background. I think that pretty much sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about it. I don't get to use these things live that much. Most of what I do because I sort of session out for Jason Singh and a couple other people and whatnot, and most of the time these aren't part of that. unfortunately, but it is what it is, so that's okay. I'm happy to be doing the gigs that I get to do anyway, so that's fine. You know, and yeah, I get to play with some great players because of it, which is awesome. But yeah, so from that, it just sort of evolved, I think. I started playing, and next thing you knew, me and one of my friends from school, he was a drummer, so we decided to have a jam, and like we didn't play anything that was we virtually couldn't play. I couldn't anyway. It's pretty rough. And but we stuck at it, and then another couple of our friends joined along, and I was doing guitar lessons, but it was more I was learning as a child would, if that makes sense. I was learning, the single note stuff, all the little almost nursery rhymes and things like that. But in probably 1989, Motley Crue brought out their Dr. Feelgood album, and it had like I was hearing sounds on the guitar where it's like, what the hell is that? Harmonics and techniques and stuff like that I've never heard before. I didn't know any way of how to do. But I got a book. It was like a lessons book. I've probably got it would be here somewhere, but I'd have to find it. I should have got it out. Actually, and it was like, but it had how to play these particular techniques to be able to play the songs as well, and all that sort of stuff. Hammer-ons, pull-offs. Do you play guitar by any chance?
No, I haven't actually ever played an instrument at
Oh,
all.
okay, just a music lover.
Just a music lover. I
I love it.
should one day try a guitar or some sort of instrument just to
Yeah,
say when I get asked a question like that, I can say I've
yeah,
actually played an
yeah,
instrument.
yeah, yeah. So, but some of your listeners they'll know the techniques that I'm talking about and stuff like that. So, from that was the time when I went, oh, I was started to be able to play actual these sort of songs and things like that, and I was like, okay, and then it just sort of started to snowball, and I was playing with with my friends and that, but back in school, and all of a sudden, we lived in a place called Swan Hill, and Swan Hill was uh, very supportive of us as young kids learning to play and getting us involved in their musicians club and stuff like that that they had with some of the older people, and that I think they sort of saw that maybe there was something going on with this particular little group of brats that could actually play or had potential to be able to play and stuff like that. So they'd bring us along to when they have any club functions or stuff like that where they have a bunch of bands playing. Like we'd be invited to play too. Like being young, we might be on first and all that sort of stuff and whatever. But they gave us a chance and all that. And from there, like by the time I was probably 14, I was doing paid pub gigs. So yeah, it just evolved. And it sort of fed into itself in a lot of ways. And I felt like I don't know, it just became something that I really wanted to be and to do, to be a guitar player. I from, early teens, my dream was to be a famous rock and roll guitar player. That was it. And it wasn't until um, a little bit later, sort of mid-teens, when I just like had to become a singer as well. And that was through necessity. Our band didn't have a singer and they needed someone. We tried one of our friends, but he didn't work out. So in the end, I just took over and started doing it. But the the I don't know the bet or not bet, but the reward for me doing that was that somewhere in our set would get to play a Joe Satriani song and I could play the lead guitar in it. You know, so yeah, and then over the years we did a bunch of gigs and all that sort of stuff, and then I joined another cover band when I got a bit older, and once again I didn't want to sing, but out of necessity, it became a thing, and with that band, like it was after I sort of turned 18, so we were playing all of the time, every week, 2, 3 gigs a week, sort of thing, for a few years, and I started to be able to actually sing. So yeah, And then I moved to Melbourne and got a bit better again. So yeah, and I just couldn't. I sort of started to get to a point where I'd come so far that it just that's what I wanted to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was just like, oh no, I want to do this. I love it. So yeah,
And also the whole thing about the regional Victoria thing as well, because like when you grow up in regional Victoria, like Swan Hill or Bendigo, Ballarat, Geelong,
yep,
Shepparton, wherever it may be, it does become a lot harder to sort of make that transformation into you know getting your band heard or getting your music out there, being given opportunities, because a lot of the regional towns don't have as much exposure or
yeah,
opportunities that obviously Melbourne or a Sydney or a
yeah,
Brisbane does.
yep. That's true. This where I was in Swan Hill was like it was really we were playing covers and all that sort of stuff in the pubs for all of the people to go and rock out to and have a good time to the songs they knew. They weren't like the punters, the public weren't really necessarily keen on hearing anything necessarily that I might write or any of us might write. And that is what it is though. But that comes down to if if our songs were being played on the radio all the time through their workday and they become familiar with them, the story would change. I'm a big believer in familiarity being a big part of what makes a hit song. So obviously it's got to be a good song. That's of course, and a good artist, someone that can perform it and sing it and all that sort of stuff. But you also it needs to permeate the memory and the psyche of the people. You hear a lot of radio stations play songs throughout the day, and if you could get your songs on that regular rotation in the daytime, I believe it would make a huge, huge difference. I would love to hear um, commercial stations play new Australian music, rock music in particular, during the daytime, prime time, new stuff, because I think that would make a massive difference to the scene.
Oh, 100%
Mm.
agree. And look, I'm not saying that, don't play AC/DC, don't play Cold
Oh yeah,
Chisel, don't
no,
play those bands, but they've been played that much. Those bands have been stalwarts of Australian music for 40 plus years.
yes, they have.
I
Yep.
mean, there is so much Australian rock music out there, especially from Victoria at the moment,
Yeah.
that I feel like the commercial stations need to start playing these bands. Like Shotgun Mistress, for example, is a
There you go.
perfect example.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Play any one of their songs for like one of their singles. Every day at like during prime time for a month. Have a listen and you watch it go for them. You
mm,
watch, you know, all of a sudden people will be turning up. I mean, I'm sure they have people turning up to their gigs anyway, but it can't hurt them and it can't hurt the scene as well. It's about the future of the music scene as well. So longevity. So I do believe that if they had that kind of support going on, and you watch if they did it, but not just Shotgun, but all of the bands, and kept it going, keep it rolling on for the next say 5 years at least, and you'll see venues around this town being full when these bands play. You'll see all of this sort of stuff come back. I'm a massive believer in that. Yeah.
I'm also a massive believer that 25% is not enough in Aussie content. Like, I think it needs to be more, but that's just my personal
Yeah.
opinion.
I mean, it's a hard one. I mean, for me, of course, absolutely. But at the same time, they do have to do what the public want, um, and it would need to if they were going to transition to higher content, they would need to do it gradually rather than in one fell swoop. Because obviously, for commercial stations and things like that, it's about selling advertising, market share, all that sort of stuff, like businessy stuff that people that they do. So, it's up to people much more savvy with that than me. But I would think that a gradual increase in especially newer content would be an amazing thing for the music industry in Australia.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like it's already a struggle when it comes um, to getting your music out there. You've got Spotify's that pay 0.003 cents a stream, but they don't even pay you until you've had 1,000 streams of a song. They've demonetized anything that's lower than 1,000. It's crazy, but
It's wrong on so many levels.
it is. But look, at the same time, if you want your music heard, you want the listeners to be able to access your music the easiest way that they can, and so you either have people listening to your music or you don't. So for me personally, my music's on Spotify and all that because I want people to be able to find it and listen to it. And I know it's the most popular one, so I've got to have it there. I'd rather people hearing it than not, because otherwise, what's the point? I might as well have just kept it, like do it in here and just listen at home and that's it, So yeah,
Well, and if you look at New City, New Love, I mean, it's had nearly 11,000 streams on Spotify
yeah,
in
yeah.
what, 5 months? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. It's not bad, not bad. I yeah, I was pretty happy with that. It's what is that? Where it's at? Is it 11,000?
Oh, sorry, might just be over 10,000. I might have been exaggerating, but
Oh, well, I've got my phone. I can actually look it up. Uh, New City, New Love. The numbers haven't. Hang on, went wrong. Sorry. New City, New Love. Yeah, just over 10.
yeah.
Yep, yep.
Which,
And
yes, given it's been out, what, since June, far out,
yeah,
5 months since it was
yep,
released. That's
yep.
flown by.
Yeah, it's coming quick. Between My Shadow and the Sun's just about to clock up 23,000. So that's good. Luxuria is too new to have any numbers for yet. So we'll wait. Watch this
Well,
space.
well, that was my next question, but it's hard to know how to ask this because, as you've said, Luxuria has only been out 4 days. But I will
Mm,
ask it:
yep.
what has the response so far been like for
Well,
Luxuria?
most of the response that I've come across really at this stage has been from friends. So everyone seems to be enjoying it. So that's good. Like as far as strangers and all that sort of thing, and people responding to it, I'm sort of yet to see how that goes. I'm hoping it goes well. So we'll see. I think it's good. So it just remains to be seen. Yeah.
And
It's the first one of these songs to have a guitar solo in it, so I was kind of happy with that.
well,
Mm.
you will be happy to know it's actually was on last week's weekly Spotify playlist that I put together, and it's on this week's as well.
Nice,
So
nice.
twice in what, 5 days it will be that Luxuria has actually featured on it, and I can only think of one other time this year that's happened where I've interviewed the band who's released the song 2 or 3 days before the interview. So it
Yeah,
doesn't happen very often.
yeah, right. Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Well, thanks for putting it on your playlist. That's awesome.
and
Appreciate it.
at the top too, actually between My Shadow and the Sun and New City New Love will both be on that playlist as
Oh,
well.
brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I love it. Thanks heaps.
Nah,
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying it. And I listened back to the three songs today, as I do
Mm,
with all interviews, and
yep.
because they were so short, I actually listened to them twice.
Yep.
So yeah, no, but I really enjoyed it, and I don't actually know how to describe like a genre of music or who I'd say you sound like because I don't actually know what
Yeah.
influences you would be.
Influences. So for me, there's you know every piece of music that I've ever heard, I suppose, is an influence. But if I was to tell you the bands that I've loved over the years, it would be I'm a massive fan of I love Icehouse from the early days. Um, Def Leppard are a big one for me, although I don't feel like either of those two are necessarily influencing what I'm doing here. But they're in there. Um, um, you know, David Bowie in his later years, like from sort of maybe the mid 1990s and beyond. I really love what he did later on um, in his career. I love obviously Metallica, and I was big on the '90s rock scene, like bands like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, those ones.
Nice.
Faith No More. Seen Faith No More a whole bunch of times. Um, the Tea Party, love them. Muse, yeah, and you know, plenty of other bands as well. You know, the Police. I love 80s pop sort of plastic the plastic stuff that came out in the early to mid 80s. I have a real thing for that for some reason. Yeah, heaps of different things. So I would probably I feel like this music has got something coming from the 90s in it. There's something inspired from that era. Um, yeah, do you know a band? Did you know Horsehead?
I don't think I've heard of Horsehead, no.
Okay, well, they're another band actually from the 90s that I love, but the guitarist Cameron is the guy who's produced these three songs.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, yeah, he's the producer for them. So yeah, and he's incredibly good. He produced Mark Seymour's album last year, the Boxer, because
Oh,
it was
wow.
number one album. Yeah, he plays in that band as well. So go Cam. Yeah, he's a gem.
Oh, well, he's releasing gem after gem. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So he produced this. Yeah. So he's been really good because he sort of, he pushes me to where I probably would think, oh, yeah, that's okay, that's a good enough. And he'll go one more, one more, one more, until I get the better one. So he's really good. But also on the other side of that, he knows when he's got the one. Whereas I might on the other side of that be humming and and go, oh, is that the one? I don't know. I can't tell. So he's definitive. He can listen and go, no, this is the one. He makes the choice like that. So which is good. I need that.
it's good to have someone like that. And
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and why go with anyone else if he's doing what
Oh,
you
he's doing
want?
great stuff. Like
Yeah.
he's really inspiring me, and yeah, he's good. He's also a good hang when we get together and do stuff. Um, yeah, he's good. Yeah,
That 90s nostalgia you were talking about there, David, that's my childhood, like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains,
yeah, yeah.
Muse,
Yep.
Metallica, all those bands is just what I grew up on.
Yeah, yeah. I'm spewing. I didn't go and see Pearl Jam late last year. I'm like, that was just madness that I didn't go, but here we are. And I felt the same. You know what? I was never a huge fan of Oasis, right? But I'm spewing. I didn't go to the concert. I'm like, I should have went to that. What am I doing with my life? It's just insanity. But anyway, because I have this thing now. My wife and I, where if we know a couple of songs, we'll go and see stuff no matter what. Like, so for example, a couple of years ago, she got tickets to go and see the Gorillas, and I was like, oh, she's like, oh, do you want to go? I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll go. I know a couple of songs, and I just like her and the daughters all said that they're all singing and carrying on like this, and I was just like focused, like this is incredible. It was so good. I was just like, because half the songs I didn't know, but it didn't matter. That was just so good, and I really enjoyed the artistic direction that they've gone in their gig. It was really cool. And we did the same again last year and went to the weekend. Remember the weekend
Oh,
with his
yes,
blind lights, right? So it's
Can't
the
Feel
same
My
thing.
Face guy and
Yeah,
Hills.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yep.
So we went to that gig, and the same thing. I knew a few songs, maybe 3 or 4, but the theater of the show was just mind bending. It was so good. I was just like, "This is incredible." Yeah, really cool. So,
Uh,
so I've
uh,
got this thing now. We do that. Yeah,
well, and anything Damon Albarn does, I mean, Gorillas, Blur, I
Blur.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
See,
absolutely.
I'm a massive Gorillas fan, but mine is sort of everyone says it's Dare and Feel Good Inc. and
Hmm.
Melancholy Hill and that. Mine's all off the album with like Clint Eastwood, 192000.
Yeah,
That whole album, I just remember when it came out, I'm like, what is this?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
especially Clint Eastwood, because it was so different to what Damon Albarn normally does with that Britpop sound.
Yeah, with Blur, absolutely. It was a completely different thing. Yeah, absolutely. Which is what makes it amazing, and it obviously makes him amazing too, that he can just step from this completely sideways to that and still make incredibly good, very well crafted music. It's amazing stuff. Yeah. It's amazing what like an artist can do if they just sort of follow follow through, I suppose, with the vision, and just do what it is that they want to do without trying to succumb to whatever it might be. Yeah, yeah.
And like another person we heard throughout the influences, who's a perfect example of that, like Damon Albarn, was Mike Patton, because that man is by
A god.
far
Yeah.
one of the biggest geniuses in music. Like, you
Mm.
listen to Faith No More, and then you go listen to, you know,
Anything else?
Tomahawk or Peeping Tom, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah. What's going on? Yeah, he's out of
this is the
control.
same guy. I mean,
Yeah, it's just craziness. Like, oh, I don't know how many times I've seen Faith No More. I've never seen any of the like Tomahawk, Peeping Tom, Phantomus, or any of those other acts, but I've seen Faith No More multiple times, and obviously, and when they got back together a few bunch of years ago when they had the new album and whatnot, I went to those gigs as well. I was just like, this is the greatest and best thing in the world. I loved it. It was just so good. Yeah.
yeah, how many? Twice I think I've seen Faith No More. Once at Festival Hall and once at Soundwave, which I believe is when Sol Invictus was about to be released or had
Right.
just been released.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went and seen them. They did a show, I believe, when they were out for Soundwave. They did a show at Festival Hall as well. I went to that. Um, but I saw them at Festival Hall in 1995 on the King for a Day tour. That was the first time I saw them. Yeah. I think they've
Severely,
been out before, but that was the first time I saw them in King for a Day. Yeah. Yeah.
severely underrated album, King for a Day, Fall for a Lifetime.
Oh my god. So good. I was
Ma-
just like this is the yeah. I didn't know it was coming out or anything like that. I just went into the CD shop in my school lunch break. I was in year 12 at the time. And went down the street at lunchtime, went into the shop. Here's this album. I'm like, yoink, I'll have that. And yeah, and I got home, put it on. I had a decent CD player by this time that my parents had bought me for my birthday one year. Um, and yeah, I put it on, cranked it up, and like yeah, it was very different from like the previous album was Angel Dust, so it was very different. They changed guitar players and all that. The direction had changed a lot, so it took me a moment, and it was a very dry sounding recording compared to Angel Dust and the real thing. So it took me a moment, but I was just like, still like this is incredible. Like, yeah, and they covered a lot of musical ground with it. They went, like what Star AD and I think Evidence was on that. I think is that
yeah,
right?
I
Evidence?
love Evidence.
Yeah, great song, great song. Yeah, just a lot of musical flavors going on in that album. Yeah,
I still think, for me, the best song of King for a Day, even though it's been probably played to death, is probably Digging the Grave. I just,
yeah,
something about that song,
Yeah,
Probably because it's one of the heaviest songs actually
because
on
it's
the
up and
album.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like there's so many. King for a Day itself. That sort of the outro of it where it kind of this is the best party I've been to, like that bit. And yeah, um, the whole thing really. Just a Man, dude. Hey, the song "Just a Man." That's man was born to love that bit and the you know, um. Oh, and don't you look so surprised? Happy birthday. And I won't swear, just in case. I'm not sure who listens to
Oh,
the
sorry,
show.
I didn't
Yeah,
even say
yeah,
that at the start, David.
yeah.
Actually, if you want to swear, it's fine because, yeah, I probably should have put that in the
Mm.
disclaimer at the start. So if you do want to swear, I don't get offended, and listeners have heard much worse than what you're
Yeah, yeah.
about to say. Trust
Oh,
me.
I'll keep it clean just in case, so I can. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'll let nature take its course. Yeah.
I
Mm.
think the real thing for me is probably still my favorite Faith No More album, just because I was a huge Epic fan, and still to this day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so, Zombie Eaters and Surprise You're Dead, and
Great tune. So
yeah,
good.
man.
Yeah. Oh,
Those three alone, I'm just like, yeah. And then when they did the bloody cover of War Pigs by Black Sabbath,
yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, only Mike Patton could pull this off.
Mm. Yeah. 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 I got that album on cassette when it came out. I got it. It was between grade 6 and year 7, and that summer, going into year 7, that was the album for the first probably 3-4 months of year 7 for me. It was even before I discovered Metallica. Actually, I got onto them probably that year. It was before the Black Album, probably 6 to 8, 12 months before the Black Album. But yeah, the Real Thing. Yeah, what an album! But as you said, um, Zombie Eaters, Surprise You're Dead, the song, The Real Thing, oh, and Underwater Love. Jesus, oh, so good, so good. Yeah, wow, those songs are just so good.
Probably got. No, I think I've got my albums mixed up. I keep
Mhm.
thinking for some reason Midlife Crisis is on the real
That's
thing, but it's Angel
Angel Dust.
Dust. Yeah,
Angel
I
Dust.
always get that song mixed
Yeah,
up on which album. I'm like, no, it's the one with Easy and Caffeine, so it has to be
yeah,
Angel Dust.
yeah. So, but like, when did Angel Dust come out? Probably 92. I want to
I
say.
feel like Easy came out in about 92, so I reckon it's
Yep,
around then.
yep. So it's not a musically, it's to me at least, it's an extension of The Real Thing. Like it's not as sideways as what they went once Jim Martin left and they went a different direction with it was actually Trace Bruance that played guitar on King for a Day. He's the guy from Mr. Bungle. Yeah.
Another
Um
Mike Patton.
yeah, I've forgotten them. But yeah, so he was the guitarist from Bungle and which yeah, and he's like a killer guitar player too, like yeah, next level sort of guy. And he had a lot more in his arsenal as a guitar player than what Jim did, and you can hear that in the music. Um, but yeah, still, that doesn't mean that what Jim did is not cool because it bloody is. It's fantastic. But you know what? The stuff with the original singer earlier on, mm, eh, doesn't excite me. It has to have pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So
And, and for those that don't know the video clip to Epic, the exploding piano, the
at the end,
floppy
yeah,
fish, the eye with the blood coming out, that freaked me out, that part of the video clip, when I
yeah,
was like 5 or 6. I'm like, this just is freaky, but now to
yeah,
sort of watch it and you're like, oh, I know it's coming.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen it actually for a long, long time, but yeah, I remember the exploding piano at the end. That's yeah, yeah,
Funny
great.
story though. Speaking of Mr. Bungle, Mike Patton's wearing a very own Mr. Bungle shirt in the video clip to Epic.
Correct. Yes, yep, he is. It's like a green. It's got green on it, I think. And yeah, it says Mr. Bungle. Yeah, I remember that. Yep. Like at the time when that came out, obviously, well, not necessarily, obviously, but to me at least, had no idea what it was. Did see the guy wearing a shirt, whatever, blah blah blah, and then that I assume it's their first album, the one that had like uh what did it have on it? Girls of Porn. um uh, Stub a Dub, I think there was a song on it called. And like and the names were all his name in the credits was Vlad Drak. Um but then it's like, oh, Mr. It's actually Mike Patton from Faith No More. And then you see him wearing the shirt. It's like, oh, okay. It was all like a big mysterious, oh my God, I've solved the greatest mystery in the world sort of thing. But yeah, um, pretty cool though. But yeah, like there's a, like, for me, Bungle wasn't the most amazing thing in the world. Faith No More was. They had some good songs. But I'll tell you, later on, like years later, like as in probably the last 4 or 5 years even, for some reason I felt like chucking on one of their later albums, and then I was listening to it and going, "Holy shit, this is unreal!" Like I was right in there with them. I was really enjoying it. I think it was. Hang on, I need to look it up. What it is? Give me a sec. It was. Um, uh, California.
Yep.
Yeah. Sweet charity. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I think it
Yes.
was the third album, maybe. So,
Because I reckon there were two before that, and I
yep.
feel like one of them had like I probably got the colors wrong, but it was sort of like an orange and blue
Yeah.
background.
That's the one with the clown. Hang on.
I should
It's
know that album title too. That's bad.
I don't know if it has a title. No, it's just called Mr. Bungle.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
probably why I don't remember the title. That's the one. Yep.
Yep. Yep. And then the one I was talking about is this one, which yeah, I think I come out in '99. I reckon that's their last one.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but there was one in the middle called, oh yeah, there it is, Disco Volante.
That,
Yeah.
yeah, I knew there was one between California and the self-titled. I knew there were
Yeah.
three, and
That come
that's
out
one I've missed.
that's '95 come out.
So
So,
pretty much right smack bang
the
in the
middle.
middle.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Probably a good year for Mike Patton, 95, because I reckon King for a Day was
100%.
released.
100% it was, because that's when I was saying I went into the record store. I was in year 12 and I remember seeing it and I was like I'll have that. Yeah. And I took it home and it's like, this is unreal, Yeah. So, although as I said, it didn't grab me as much as the real thing on listen one, but when you're sort of younger, um, and you buy a CD or a record or whatever, and it's the only thing you've got to listen to, like you can't. It's not like now where you can put on Spotify, whatever, and you listen to it once, and then you're listening to something else, and then something else, and you never listen to it again or whatever. Back then, it was like, I'm just going to listen to this and this and this and read the liner notes and all that stuff that you do, and it just becomes, it goes in, and then all of a sudden you find yourself loving it. Yeah. So
An album for me that on first listen I wasn't a huge fan of, and this might cause some debate with some Muse fans, but the album that actually took me a while to get into was uh the one with like Time Is Running Out and Hysteria and Absolution. That's the
third
one.
one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You know what?
just, yeah, I couldn't, like, Time Is Running Out sounded good in Stockholm Syndrome, but I was sort of like, it's not the same as the Origin of Symmetry, but
Mm. Yeah. Well, um, for me, I remember it was like probably the late '90s. I was listening. It would have been '99. Listening to Triple J, and they had this song on there called and it was it's off the first album, Showbiz, and went, this is unreal. I love it. Bought the single, and then the next minute, another one was on. It's called Muscle Museum. I'm like, this is also unreal. All right, bought the single. I'm like listening to the songs. I'm like, I have a rule where if I can buy two singles and love it, I'm going to buy the album. So I bought the album on the strength of those, and I was just like, what is this? You know, this is incredible. And so yeah, I was in love with it. And then, you know, but over, like, to be honest, the next, you know, couple of years, I kind of, when Origins came out and Absolution, I wasn't really following it that hard with them. It was when their next album, Black Holes and Revelations, come out. I was like, for some reason, I don't even know why, I just happened to be in the CD shop, and once again it was there. I'm like, all right, buy this. And anyway, by that time I was sort of, you know, driving around in the car often, and so in those years you don't necessarily know the names of the songs. You just, it's track one, track two, track three. You just put the CD in and drive, because it's not like you're sitting there looking at the liner notes like you used to before driving, sort of thing. But I remember I was driving along, and the last song on the album, which is Knights of Sidonia, comes on, and I'm like, listen along, going, yeah, you know, whatever. And it's got into the no one's gonna, you know, the whole outro section, and the all of that, and I'm just going, yeah, this is fucking awesome. You know, I'm just like, this is the shit right here. What the hell's happening? Like this, you know. And I just was like, immediately, as soon as the song finished, I'm like, book, play again, and like, and then because I was completely unfamiliar with it at the time. It goes back to the start, and it's, you know, completely removed from how it finishes. I'm like, oh, is this the same song? Right, okay, I've just got to sit with this and listen to it, and off I go again. And yeah, I was like, this is just incredible music. I saw them. I saw them on that tour. That's when they really blew up from being a festival hall band to being a Rod Laver Arena band, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So they toured Australia twice on that tour, and at the start of the year, they were at Festival Hall, and I saw them there. That was the first time I'd ever seen them. And then at the end of the year, they were playing at Rod Laver Arena, and I went to that as well. I was just like,
Wow.
yeah, I was just like, far out, you know, look how far you guys have come. It was amazing. But they opened the gig at Festival Hall with Take a Bow, which is the first song on that album, and finished it with Knights of Sidonia, which is the last song. And I was just like, and you know, Take a Bow is just as epic as Knights of Sidonia, in my opinion. It's just like, it's incredible song. And it reminds me of Pink Floyd, actually. That song reminds me of something you might hear off off uh, maybe The Wall or something. Yeah, probably The Wall. Yeah, if you're familiar with any of that stuff. So, yeah. Oh, Hey You, the song Hey You, that
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
for some reason it reminds me of that. And it's like, even though the time signature is completely different and everything's different, but it makes me feel the same way, I guess. Yeah. So, but you can imagine my surprise and amazement and excitement when I pulled out my copy of Showbiz, the first album, and you know, you pull open the liner notes and all that sort of stuff, and it's got a photo of them playing a gig, like a smaller gig, and Matt Bellamy, the guitar player, is holding a guitar exactly the same as mine.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, that's the same guitar. Like, it's the same color,
Yep.
um, everything. I got this one in, this is a 97. I got it in 98, and their album come out in 99. It's probably, for all I know, the serials are probably next to each other. But yeah, it's an Eddie Van Halen
Oh
PV guitar.
wow. Yes.
Yeah, from the late 90s, when he'd moved away from playing the old stripy things back in the, you know, back in the early days where he had the, you know, that red, black and white stripe thing that he used to play. So he sort of become more subdued in the later years and had solid coloured guitars. So yeah, but yeah, when I saw that in the album cover, I'm like, see, That's awesome. I feel validated because he's got the same guitar as
Same
me.
guitar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, gee, we went off topic. Oh, Sam went off topic there, I think
Oh, I
more.
think Dave went off topic too. That's what I do. It's
Oh,
good. I
oh,
love having a chat though, so it's all good.
oh, I don't mind it, and
Yeah.
obviously, you know, I'm here to hear stories, but I'm also
Mm.
here to li- have anyone talk about anything. Like,
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I just sit here and listen. Like, it
Mm.
sounds weird as an interviewer, but I'd much rather sit here and listen to influences or stories than
Mm.
people hearing me talk shit for an hour and a half.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it's always good. You can feed off each other, and that's the when the interview's going well, because it becomes a conversation rather than um, you know the standard questions or whatever. You know what I mean? We just have a chat about whatever it might be and sort of things like that. So it's good. Yeah,
It
it's
does raise the point, and I say this a lot of the time, and people always find this funny that I say this, but it is almost easier talking to someone that is a stranger on the other end over WebEx during an
mm,
interview than it is to talk to someone you know over
yeah,
WebEx.
yeah, yeah. I don't know why that is. There must be a psychology behind it, but I wouldn't know what it is. But it's probably got to do with expectation, or so I know. I wouldn't even know. I don't dare make an assumption on what it might be.
I
Yeah.
think it might be the fact that you don't feel as much pressure when it's someone you've never met. I think
Mm,
if it's someone you know the backstory, you know most of how they got into music and all that, and you almost feel like you're the one that needs to know all this. When it's someone like Dave, who I've not met in person before, spoken through Facebook, obviously,
yeah.
but it just seems to gel a lot easier. I don't know. Maybe it's just how I look at it, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? It's an interesting thought, though. I hadn't considered it, to be honest. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
But also, you're right though. Like when things go smoothly, like this interview has. I mean, I looked up at the timer above me on WebEx, and I can't believe it's over an hour. It feels like we
yeah.
only just started, honestly.
Yeah. Time
But
flies when you're having fun.
yes,
Yeah,
time flies way too fast at the moment, and it seems
yeah,
like every interview it's going quicker and quicker, which
yeah,
is a good thing, but
yeah.
sort of yeah, gotta sort of stay on top of it and sort of make sure it's not too long or things are getting talked about. But
Yeah, yeah. I
yeah,
suppose, can you snip it and edit and use what you need? I
sometimes
don't
I edit and snip it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, if it's stuff that I find very interesting, which a lot of this already is, so I feel like there's
Mm,
not going to be much snipping or editing at all.
yeah,
I just generally leave it as it is. And like your visual on your end from here, I can see you
yeah,
perfectly. Your
yeah,
audio's perfect. There's no issues there. So,
yeah. Oh, that's good. I've got a lot of sound deadening in this room. This is my little studio at home. It's not really where I recorded the music that we're talking about, but I mean, I certainly wrote some of it in this room and rehearse it in this room as well. But I've got, like, around the room, I've got sound deadening and stuff like that to make it so it's not as echoey. It's got a little bit of life in the room, but it's if you can see in the corner there, see all the deadening over there and all that sort of
I
stuff.
can see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so all that sort of stuff around the room to take up the echoes and things like that. Because in a room where you might record stuff, you don't want sounds bouncing around off every surface, sort of thing. Um, so it is a relatively dry room in here, which is good. Yeah,
Oh,
it's actually what's meant to be. If this house was as its designer wanted it to be, this would be a theatre room. But I want to have these things and guitars and whatnot. So yeah,
I can sort of see what you mean about it being a theatre room if it wasn't.
Yeah,
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 because sort of the background without the Marshall amps in a way,
mm,
you sort of can see that it could possibly
yeah.
be a theatre room
Theatre room.
or
Yeah, yeah. That's the design of the house, but yeah, it needed to be for my purpose or our family's purpose. It's my studio. We put the TV and the DVDs and the all that stuff somewhere else, which we've done. So yeah, yeah,
all right. Well, I feel like we talked about a lot of things like music influences and the response for Luxuria and how you got into music. There's really
yep,
only two or three quick more questions that, yeah, feel like I want to get to know a bit more about it. And is
yep.
um your favorite and least favorite thing about being a musician?
Ah, mm. Um, I hate music, so it's no. No, I was joking. Obviously, yeah, my favorite thing about playing music is um, gee, yeah, I don't know. I get some kind of when I'm playing, um, I when I'm playing in a band and everything sounds good. I just I don't know. I get some kind of but feel like I can't explain it even. There's just something within me that is stimulated by that, I suppose. Um, I'm lucky because I get to play with some really, really good players, just through the other because I freelance as a guitar player and I've been playing with Jason from Taxi Ride over the last few years.
Oh,
So,
yep.
yeah, so he's brought me in on lots of stuff, and it's been amazing for my career and for the people I've met, the people I've got to play with, and all of that sort of thing. So I love that about it. I love creating music as well. So um, and writing and stuff like that. I have come from a band as well, which is called Welcome to the Numb. If you ever want to check that out, we've got music on Spotify as well. So or anywhere where you might uh, you know stream your music, I suppose. But that band's a little darker and a bit more. I don't know, slightly heavier and different than than my solo stuff, but it's still good quality stuff. I'm the lead singer and guitarist in that as well. But it's this solo stuff of mine is where I've um, kind of freed myself a little bit from that because I felt like there was almost at least in myself a particular thing that band needed to be and or needs to be, and this stuff that I have is not that. So I needed to be able to be free of what I feel that needs to be so I can do this. I'm still a member of that band and everything, but I'm focusing right now on this one. Um, so there's that. And as I said, I've played with some really, really good players over the last however long, and that when you're, when the rest of the band is so on, and I'm talking about players that are, you know, very like very established musicians in Australia, um, and stuff like that. So I've had some really good luck and fortune to be invited to play along with those people, and that's probably my favorite thing about music. Just that feeling. Um, as far as least favorite goes, I would state that um, the least favorite thing about it is possibly people that don't necessarily um, they're a bit closed-minded about it, perhaps. It's it is a career choice for people. You can make a good living being a musician, so it's not like every musician's a screaming poor, got nothing sort of thing. You can make a career out of it. You just got to, have the know-how and the skills to do it. It might not be that it's, I'm certainly not Metallica. I'm not. at that level in financially or anything like that. So I have a day job, but there was a time where I was a full timer and I was making good money from doing music. So my least favorite thing is probably um, closed mindedness that comes to from it. And I'll tell you a story. I was at my work one day and I had a guitar with me because I needed to change some strings for a gig. Um, and a dude there says, like, sees me with a guitar and goes, without hearing me ever play, doesn't know I play, says, "Don't give up your day job." Right now, now at one point that was my day job, and I play with some of the best players in Australia, and I've played across. I've been taken for gigs out of Australia, like overseas and all that. So, it's kind of a bit insulting when you haven't heard what it is that I can do or do as a player. And yeah, it's sort of, I think that there's a bit of a thing that goes on where people don't necessarily understand whether people are any good, and they need to be told by someone else that something's good rather than being able to make the distinction. And also, there are people that think that the big stars that they see up in lights and all that have some kind of magic power that everyone else doesn't have, and that's not true. Anyone that's put in the work, you put them through the same recording chains and all that sort of stuff, and mix them properly in a recording studio, and they'll sound just as good. Whether you like the song or not comes down to taste. But in my opinion, at least, listening to these songs that I have that you've heard, um, from a standpoint of the production, how good they sound as good as anything else you'll hear on the radio. Whether you like the songs or not, it's up to you. But they are of the same quality in terms of the production and stuff like that. So I would state that my least favorite thing is that people wouldn't give it a chance. If they allow it to sit with them, listen to it enough times, they would go, "Oh, actually, yeah, no, this is good." And whether it be my music or someone else's, that's up to them. But I'm just saying that there's some really good stuff out there if you give it a chance. Yeah.
No, very well
Yep.
answered. And
Yep.
yeah, it's an interesting question because you do get a lot of different answers when I've asked that about favorite and least favorite thing. It could be any number of things for least favorite, but I think the one I hear a lot for the favorite thing is being able to create music and to release it to the world
Yeah.
and know that you've produced this music and someone out there will listen to it.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. It's there's a market for everything, I believe. You've kind of We're lucky in this time where a lot of us say, oh, it's hard because there's we don't get airplay and all that sort of stuff and whatever. But we've also got this great thing called the internet that people on the other side of the world are listening to my songs. I know that because I can see it on the stats on my artist account on Spotify and stuff like that. I can see Between My Shadow and the Suns. At the moment, it's getting played in like Germany, America, Europe, everywhere. And it's so people are listening to it. So that's awesome. You know, yeah,
There's a massive, like, I know we criticize Spotify so much, but that is a huge positive is that they do have the um, tool on the band or artist's
mm,
profile where it says people are listening from all these different places,
yeah,
not just here in Australia, but around the world, as Dave
yeah,
said.
yeah. It's a really cool thing to know. Like because um, you're not just stuck to where you are just trying to you can put your music out globally, and then because of that you can find your audience. And if you can find your audience, you can sort of direct yourself at them a bit, and you can grow as well, because if you have an audience, that's when you can grow as a musician, you know, because you need to be able to, um, what would be in a perfect world, you know, spend all of your time working on your craft, you know, and the money will come, you know, because I mean, you know, when I say the money will come, I just mean you need to be able to survive. You need to be able to support yourself. You need to eat. You need to have shelter, and that takes money. So, you know, it's, you've got to work somehow, and making music is work. You know, so yeah, it's fun though. It's good. Yeah.
And it's a passion and a
Mm.
love and a hobby
Yeah,
and
all of that. Absolutely. It's, you know, it's you've got to love it to pursue it and do it, because at this stage I'm not making money out of it, not much anyway. You know, so it's, you know, it's, I have to feed that, but hopefully, you know, I can make some back. But it's really about the creation of the music for me at the moment. I'm okay with the rest of it. So yeah. Hence being on Spotify. We get paid 0.003 cents. You
yeah,
know, I'm also on Bandcamp and Apple Music and all of those ones that where an artist can get a bit more. But if your listeners are people who find their music at that spot, I'm just happy to have the numbers and have people listening.
See, when I did the audio podcast, I used to use Bandcamp probably more than I did Spotify
Yeah. Yep.
because, yeah, Sam, leave the shit with Spotify and why the audio one went belly up. But
Mm.
um, at least Bandcamp, I could play the actual music on my audio podcast because
Uh,
Spotify, obviously,
yeah.
had
Yeah.
copyright laws that we won't get into that,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously.
Yep. It's a
But
funny one, isn't it? Because you're out there, you're actually promoting people's music. It'd be not, you know, like it's helpful. Let you
yeah,
play it, you know.
you'd think
Yeah,
that, David,
yeah,
but Spotify obviously have other feelings towards that, and
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Who knows? It's probably some legal thing that I don't know anything about. So yeah, I don't know.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I don't even want to know how much I spent on Bandcamp in that 3 year period. I
yeah.
I shudder to think how much it was, but it was
All
a
of the money.
lot.
Yeah, yeah. All of the money.
Yeah. But
Uh,
no, I'm a huge fan of Bandcamp. I like that Bandcamp Friday idea they
oh yeah,
have as
that's right.
well.
Yeah, every so often they have that, don't they? Yeah, it's good. Bandcamp Friday. Forgot about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Sam should get back on Bandcamp and have a look because it's been a
Well,
while.
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. The next one is, where do you see yourself as a musician in 5 years' time?
Um, uh, World domination, uh, chart success. No, I don't know. I'll still be going. I'll still be doing it. I'll be still creating music. I'll be still performing music, and hopefully these things won't have made me deaf. Um, eh, I've got ringing, but anyway, that's yeah. So I don't know, but I look. I'd like to think that I'll be still playing. I'd like to think that there'll be people that have discovered this music and have taken it into their lives, I suppose. You know, yeah, that would be ideal for me. I've yeah, I'd like to write. I'd love to have some songs in movies. I feel like that's an avenue that I would like to pursue. Maybe some co-writes with some people. That'd be really nice too. Some like artists that I sort of, you know, admire and respect and stuff like that. Yeah, who knows where it goes? I suppose. All I know is that I'll still be trying, still be creating. Yeah,
They're achievable dreams too, and
yeah,
goals. I mean, in 5 years' time, I like that co-wrote or co-write songs with some other artists and bands, and I love the movie
yeah,
songs idea. That sounds
yeah.
really cool as well.
Well, I think that I have a tendency to write in a style that, like, can be something you might hear in a movie. I just feel like I've always sort of had that with, the songs I write. I've had a they could be, I don't know, like a soundtrack to a part of a movie. They might only play a section or something like that, but I just feel like, because I love soundtrack music, so, yeah, maybe it's just that, but I'm not talking like, symphony sort of soundtrack. I'm talking about song soundtrack, as in, like, do you remember the movie Cruel Intentions?
Yes, I
Yeah, so
do
that had a
remember that movie.
great soundtrack on that movie. I just things like that. It had,
It's a
Every You, Every
placebo
Me.
one.
Yes.
Yes, that
Yep.
one.
Yep. Every You, Every Me was, one of the songs. Bittersweet Symphony
By
by
the
The Verve.
Verve, another
Yeah,
great track.
yeah, yep. I never really got that song until it came out on the soundtrack of that movie, and then I was like, "This is the greatest and best thing in the world." Like, I loved it after the movie. I sort of it for some reason, the emotions that the movie made me feel, combined with the song, I think it was near the end credits or something like that. It just all came together, and all of a sudden, I was feeling something from it, and that inspired me, and I was like, so loved it. And then after that, I think I got one of Richard Ashcroft's albums, and he came out with solo album a bit later on, I think it was, and um, yeah, it had like Song for the Lovers and New York and all that sort of stuff on there. Great album, actually. Yeah, forgotten the title though.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
what was Urban Hymns was the Verve album with,
that was a Verve album. Yes.
yeah, with Drugs
Yep.
Don't Work and
Yes. Correct.
Bittersweet. Yeah,
Yep.
no, don't know why I thought that was Richard Ashcroft's album. Well, he did.
Yeah, because he's the singer.
Yeah,
So yeah, yeah,
technically, but
yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
in fact, he's the only member of the Verve that I could tell you his name.
yeah.
So, but yeah, yeah. I don't know. Was going through a phase, and it just sort of it really stuck out to me back then. So
And it
yeah,
was quite a long song, Bittersweet. It was nearly 6 minutes, the
really,
actual,
yep,
um, or like not the radio edit, the actual full length was like
yeah,
5 minutes 58 or something. So,
yeah, right, right. I suppose. Well, back in those days, I was kind of, I'd already been a massive Metallica fan years before and everything, so I was okay with the long song, I guess. Had the attention span for it. Wasn't Facebook addicts back then, so I could sit through 5 6 minute a song, no worries, sort of thing. So yeah,
well, actually, that late part of the 90s, the Brit bands threw out all these long songs because obviously Beetle Bum by Blur was it Beetle Blur? It was one of their songs was six. Oh, Coffee and TV. Sorry, wrong
can't
one.
see that's on the that's. I'm sure that's on the Cruel Intentions soundtrack. I'm
But what
pretty sure it is.
I
Yeah,
think it's Coffee and TV's like nearly 7 minutes.
yeah,
The
right.
actual long version,
Yeah, yeah.
Paranoid Android by Radiohead's like 6.5
I
minutes.
forgot to mention Radiohead. What a band! Oh, yes, yeah. OK Computer.
What
Ooh,
an album.
yeah, I've got it on vinyl. So good. Yeah.
And I'm gonna cause some debate here, but I actually don't think Paranoid's the best song on the album. I know I'm gonna get ridiculed for that, but
No, I would go with you. I will go with you on that. Um, I I have to look at the titles of the songs because it was a CD era
I
thing.
think
What's it called?
for
OK.
me, probably No Surprises is one of my favourite songs of OK Computer. I know it's more of a ballad, but
Well, it's got a tick next to it on my playlist right
ah,
there, so that tells you that I'm a fan. Oh yeah. Oh, don't wanna get copyrighted, I won't play it. Um, so yeah, great song. Great
mm.
album. Fuck, I love
Well,
sorry.
that was shot in one take. That video. Well, it's not the only song off that album. Shot in
Mm,
one video take.
mm.
Obviously, Karma Police, but
Yeah, yeah, what another one. bloody hell. I've played that song a bunch of times live, acoustically, solo. It would make my set like if I was. Sometimes I used to do a lot of solo acoustic gigs and things like that. When I was playing, pub gigs and cover gigs all the time and all that sort of thing to make my money. I was doing those, and sometimes I just have the opportunity to just go a little bit sideways and play the songs that I wanted to play rather than the ones that the what would you call it um, the most path of least resistance type songs, if that makes sense. So I was able to go a bit obscure and do the things that I liked, and that was one of them. Yeah, great song, Karma Police. Yeah,
Yes. I'm not big on covers, but I did hear Piss the Veil, who are a band I don't generally like most of their music, actually did a cover for Triple J, like a version of Karma Police, and
yep,
I still would prefer the original, but they
mm,
actually did a pretty damn good job of it.
yep, yep. I
And
don't mind a cover if it's done well. Like I'm all for it. Yeah, there's been a few around over the years that I've gone, yeah, this is a great cover. But then there's probably ones that I probably go, why would you bother? I guess. Yeah.
one that I don't even know why they bothered was All Saints, a UK girl group, did a cover of Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers. I'm like,
Oh,
do not touch Red Hot Chili Peppers.
mm,
Just don't.
I can't understand how that would work. It doesn't seem like because it's uh, I don't know. Oh, I was never really when I always have never been a massive Chili's fan. Um, I can't explain why it is, but I just for a long time I was like, But probably it's probably 6, 8 months ago now. I was driving down to the studio to work with Cam, and I just was like, for some reason, I just put on Blood Sugar on Spotify and listened to. He lives nearly an hour away, so I got to listen to most of the album on the way there, and I was just going, "This is," I was having a great time and everything. My wife loves them, like they're one of her favorite bands. Not the favorite, Fishbone's her favorite, but they're right up there. And yeah, she was just yeah. But I was driving to this rehearsal, to this recording, and I was just right in the zone with it. Like I was when it came out in it was 91 when that came out. That album came out in that there was this 6-week period in 1991, right? And it started on the 12th 12th of August, where and that's when Metallica's Black Album came out. And in this 6-week period, they had the Black Album, Nirvana's Nevermind, Blood Sugar Sex Magic, Pearl Jam's 10, um, Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger, and Guns N' Roses' Use Your Illusions 1 and 2.
That is
I think,
some
I think
sort of 6 week period.
yeah, I think it's, I don't think I've missed any, but it's 6 weeks and the Use Your Illusion albums obviously is 2 albums, but everyone else, so there's 6 artists, 7 albums over that period, 6 weeks. It's just mind-boggling, and there's some of the biggest albums. Well, I feel like there's a Rage Against the Machine. No, they didn't
Was
come.
Pearl Jam, when was 10?
That's in there. It's
Yeah.
in there. Yep, it's in
So,
that period.
I think maybe Chili Peppers, that album, it was among some big names there. Like when you
Mm,
said, yeah, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden,
yeah,
Guns N' Roses. I mean, Black Album, one of the biggest metal albums of the 90s. Bad
yeah,
Motorfinger, arguably the best grunge album of the 90s, along with
yeah,
Nevermind.
yeah, yeah. It's mind-boggling that all of those come out in this, you know, short little period like that. It's like, way to create a movement. Wow, bang.
I mean, Bad Motorfinger, what a start to an album. Outshined and freaking Rusty Cage as your
Yeah,
opening 2 tracks.
yeah, yeah. Mind-bending. It's just like, yeah, it's out of control. What a time. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Well, I think I've asked David all the questions, and we've covered so much, including nostalgia and music influences. Now the tables get turned. I'm no
Yeah,
longer the interviewer.
you're the interviewee.
Yes.
Interesting. All right, Sam. So, what brought you to be an interview, like to take on this role as a person who champions music and interviews the people who make it and promote different artists and things like that? What was the interest and drive that took you to this place?
Love answering this question, and honestly, I could answer this every time anyone asks it because I love to go through it.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, it involves a thing called COVID, which never goes away.
Yeah,
So I don't think I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I used to do a community radio show in Gippsland, where I'm from,
yeah,
which was sort of hard rock, metal, punk sort of genres, grunge. Um, that sadly had to close down due to COVID restrictions, the pandemic, and all that.
yeah,
So I had to find something to do for
yeah,
3 to 4 months. And I heard a podcast on Spotify that a mate did. And I
yeah,
said to myself, why don't I try that? Maybe
yeah,
do one episode, see if I like it.
yeah,
And from that day on, I was just thinking it's just going to be a podcast with supporting local music and that. And then a band asked, do you want to do an interview?
yeah,
Rest is history. And that's
yeah,
how I came to interview bands and artists on the podcast, both audio and through WebEx. And
yeah.
I love it.
Yep, and there you go. And here we are, 46, episode 46,
Mm.
and all as well. That's amazing. Yeah. So had you always been interested in radio and that before when you were how did you come to be a involved in the community radio station?
See, a lot of people say they had always thought about becoming a radio presenter. As a kid, radio presenter wasn't even in my 10 jobs that I wanted to do when I grew up. It wasn't even
Yeah.
in probably top 20. And then
Yeah.
a friend of mine did another radio show at another community radio station that was similar music, and he asked, did I want to go on
Yeah.
one show? And I was like, oh, yeah. So he got me to pick some music. And after it, I said to him, I could actually see myself doing this a few
Yeah.
years down the track. And lo and behold, 2007,
Yeah.
I
And
start presenting radio. Now, a lot of the music I listen to, the station probably weren't a fan of because it was that heavy stuff. But
yeah, yeah, yeah. But you clearly know your way. You know music, as in you've. I can tell from speaking with you that you've listened to a lot of music, and you're a fan of music. I can tell that because your knowledge of albums and the songs that are on them and all that's quite encyclopedic. I've noticed over our conversation tonight. So it's quite refreshing to speak to someone who's got that passion for the music that they listen to. That's good.
and a
Mm.
lot of the influences that David was talking about earlier, people are probably thinking, you're not old enough, Sam. But the fact is, my brothers were massive grunge heads, especially my
Yeah,
older brother. He was Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains was on heavy repeat.
yeah, yeah,
And when I first heard songs like Man in the Box and Rooster from Alice in Chains, I'm like, wow. Like,
yeah,
especially Man in the Box, it's just so different to a
yeah,
lot of their other stuff. I'm like, this is
yeah.
insanely good.
When Man in the Box first showed up on Rage and all that, I remember just hearing it and going, um, just loving it. But it's sort of Man in the Box was a previous album. It was on Facelift, which is
Yeah.
before Rooster and all that, and it still had it just had its feet sort of slightly planted in the late 80s um LA just a bit. It just had a little taste of that. Even though they were from Seattle, I'm pretty sure, Alice in Chains. but it had a little bit of that earlier sort of style going on with it. So for like, and obviously before grunge had really taken hold, uh, I was probably looking for something that had something from the 80s, I guess. And I remember hearing that song and just going, this is unreal. I just, it really evoked something in me, just that, nah,
Yeah.
nah, nah, bum, bum, bum,
Dun, dun.
yeah, all of that going on. Um, to be honest, for me, when Dirt came out, I didn't get it straight away. It like Man in the Box, bang, yeah, it grabbed me immediately. But I never got my own copy of it for another couple of years. And Dirt took a while to really grow on me. But when it did, yeah, I was all in, absolutely, yeah.
I don't even think there's a bad song on Dirt, to be honest.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. It's a perfect album, pretty much. Yeah,
Start with
yeah,
them bones, end with wood. Like, I think you could have probably ended with
yeah.
Down in a Hole or Rooster, but I think
Mm.
wood just had to be the end track.
Yeah, I think because of how it finishes, like that. Yeah, I what could you? And then that's the album. Like,
Yes.
you know, it's really a strong ending. Whereas um down in a hole.
Oh, actually, yeah, no.
Mountains have been stolen. I can't even remember right now how that finishes, but I think that Wood is the perfect end for
Mm,
that album. I think they got it right. So, well, they clearly did, because, as you said, there's not a bad song on it. It's
no.
put it on and just go. It's yeah, fantastic. What an
Uh,
album.
and obviously, some other tracks are missed in there, like Junkhead and Damn That River, also on
Yep,
Dirt as
yep,
well.
yep, absolutely. Do you know what though? Going back to Facelift for a second, the um, We Die Young, the very first song on that, the guitar sound is just like this real strong mids, like it's just like real barking sounding amp. God, it sounds good. It's an amp like that one, but heavily modified by a guy called Reinhold Bogner, who is a guitar amp maker. Yeah, and my God, does it sound good. And a few years ago, I had the opportunity to buy, I have a feeling it was that amp, but I didn't, because I'd already bought one of these other ones just at the same time, and I was like, I can't afford to buy, and it wasn't ridiculously expensive, but yeah, what a dickhead! Should have bought it. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Funny story about community radio, and it actually does involve Alice in Chains, funnily enough,
Mm.
because I don't know why I tuned into the radio station I used to work at, because a friend was doing a show during the day at like 3 till 6, and I turned on, and Man in the Box came on at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm
Yeah.
like, have I turned on the wrong station?
Yeah.
Like,
No, it sounds to me like you turned on the right one.
I'm just like, this person, like, I didn't even know this person knew who Alice in Chains was.
Yeah.
I
Right.
guess,
Yeah.
like, I did play Man in the Box a few times, but wouldn't sort of them Bones, Sweet Die Young, because they're shorter tracks. Not that Man in
Yeah.
the Box is long, but
Yep.
yeah.
I've just realised why it is that you know the lengths of these songs is because you've been on radio. You're putting them on and you're going, all right, I've got 5 minutes to get my coffee or whatever it might be, and all of that. Am I right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
pretty much right
Yeah.
on the money there.
Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
yeah. You reckon you'll be still doing it in 5 years?
this,
Yep.
absolutely. I don't know what is going to happen in the next 5 years with this YouTube channel, but I'm
Yeah.
actually really keen to see what does happen though.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. See what the future beholds. But that's that's good. Yep, you'll be doing your thing, and I'll be doing mine, and it'll be all good.
And definitely not in 5 years' time. I hope more recent that I will
Mm.
get to interview David again on the YouTube podcast.
Well,
Not 5 years.
yeah, no, let's not make it 5 years. I'll be happy to come back and have a chat at any time. Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Well, I don't say much else about what I don't like about interviews, except this is the only part of the interview I don't like, is the end.
Ah, we have to really go. Yeah,
Like,
the end's always hard.
it's the only thing I don't like because I've loved this interview as much as every other interview I've done, and it's just like when I end this meeting, it's like I just want to sit here and chat longer.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
given it's a
yeah.
weeknight, obviously, as well.
Got to go to school in the morning. Yeah.
But David Jones, it's been an absolute pleasure having you
Yeah.
on.
Thanks, Sam. It's been a great time. I've really enjoyed our chat. It's been good.
And I don't know where the time's gone. It's just disappeared before my
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah. Oh, well, what a good way to spend a Tuesday night. You know, so it's been good.
Absolutely. Just before we go, we can find you on all social media and
Yeah, correct. Or I go by the handle of David Jones Songs on all of the socials. Probably would have been easier if I had a different name, if we're honest, but here we are. So yeah, if you search David Jones Songs on Facebook, Instagram, any of those, uh, look me up, say good day, all of that. Jump on anywhere where you stream the music, and grab grab onto or stream the music, buy it, whatever you need to do. I've got an EP coming soon, but we'll talk about that another time maybe. But yeah, just stay tuned, keep your eye out on the socials, and I'll keep you informed.
yes. And yep, you'll see this interview with David within 24 hours. You can check out the local weekly Spotify playlist that I'll put together that all three songs are at the top of the list, as is what happens when I interview a band or artist. I think that's pretty fitting that they're at the top.
It's awesome. I appreciate the support, Sam. Thanks heaps for that. That's awesome.
No worries at all, David. And I'll definitely have David back on any time in the future. Maybe not
Excellent.
next week,
Probably won't be
but
next week. I don't know if we'll have much to talk. I suppose I reckon that you and I probably find whatever to talk about, and it'll be fine. We could probably come up with another 2 hours worth of content in no time at all. In 2 hours. So, yeah.
I find it funny when they say, I'll have the band back on any time. And they're like, what about next episode? I'm like, I was thinking maybe a few months down the track.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, David. Well,
Awesome.
enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening and
I will.
we'll stay in touch.
Awesome. Thanks heaps, Sam. Thanks for having me, and you have a good night too. I'll see you on the next one.
No worries. Enjoy
Yeah,
your evening, David.
will do. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Do I hang up? All right. See you, mate.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.